Alright, today we're doing an auction. So, I think I picked out about 10 cars, and I whittled my list down to about 5. I figure that that's usually the best way to buy cars at auction, is to pick about 10, 15 cars, and then, as you go through and look at your cars multiple times, you're going to notice like different things about it every time you go and look at it. Just really look in detail on your pictures. There's a lot of stuff you can see that you don't think about, like the coolant reservoir. Like there was 2 cars on my list where I zoom into the picture of the engine bay, and the coolant reservoir didn't have any coolant in it. So I took those cars off my list. There's some, like, you'll be looking at a car, you might look at it 2 or 3 times, and the 4th time you go back and you click on the listing on the auction site, you notice it has body damage. Like, this is just stuff you don't notice unless you look multiple times through your cars, and I highly recommend that. Unfortunately, when there's no preview, some auctions are doing it right now, some aren't, but there's no preview on this auction. So, like I said, I just went through and, just looked at them multiple time after time after time. Usually the best way to do it. But when you go in, you can go and preview. I have a whole checklist, and I'd recommend doing that too. And I made a checklist now to look at these cars online, just to say, hey, look, check, 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 just to make sure I look through everything. Because it's really easy to overlook things when you're looking at 10 different cars. So yeah, we'll see what we get today. I have a list of 5 cars right now. I have a Mercedes 300 TD wagon because I love diesels. I'm actually a diesel technician, so that one doesn't run, so I figured that'd be kind of cool for the video. There's a $99 Dodge Dakota that doesn't run, has 88,000 miles. We got a couple Subarus. Hondas are always good. Subarus, so if you're gonna buy a Subaru, don't be upset if it has a blown head gasket, especially if you haven't looked at it, because those are really common with Subarus. So I kind of expect it. If I buy a Subaru, probably 50-50 chance it's going to have a blown head gasket. It's just super common on the models before 2009. So I'm expecting that. I have 2 Subarus. I have an Outback and a Forester I'm looking at as well on here. And I have all the tools and stuff to work on Subarus, and it's really easy for me. I have it down to where it's like 3 hours out, 3 hours back in, and maybe like another 3 hours while the engine's out to change the head gaskets. So pretty straightforward. It's probably a 1-day job, 2 days comfortably, so you can take your time and do everything right and kind of like, inspect everything and clean everything properly. So yeah, we'll see what we get. One thing I do recommend before you start bidding is definitely do market research. You're going to want to make sure you're not going to end up paying over what the car's worth. A lot of people will overpay for cars, and they'll end up putting more money into it to make the car right again. So you definitely want to research your market value, and you want your buy price to be probably 25 to 50% of the value at most. That way you have money to fix it. I plan on every buy changing the engine. That way I know I have enough money to fix the car no matter what's wrong with it. And that tends to work out for me about 90% of the time. Sometimes, it could have a broken engine and transmission. Very rare, 2 major things are broken. But I highly recommend looking at the market value, buying from 25 to 50% at most of the value. And yeah, so just make sure you guys don't overpay. When you get into the auction, you're going to be wanting to buy something, and a lot of people will find out 2 or 3 seconds after they buy it, like, oh man, I got stuck with that. But just give yourself a price limit before you start bidding. That way you don't get overexcited. Like, before the auction starts, I have a price I want to pay for every one of these cars, and I will not pay a dime over that price. Because at that point, your emotion gets involved, and as long as you set your price before your emotion gets involved, you can't be upset you bought the car after. So those are my tips before bidding on auction cars. So hopefully that helps you guys out. I've been doing this for like 5-6 years. So I have some pretty good experience. I own an inspection company, so yeah. So let's get into it. All right, here we go. We're bidding. The high bidder, $275. So for this car, I don't want to be over 1,000. Oh, I've been outbid. I better bid again. I'll take it slow. I like taking it slow when bidding, so I can really think over what I want to do. But I want to be at under 1,000 with auction fees. So I don't want to bid over 700. I want to give a $300 buffer for auction fees, which is about what it is. They vary and they change. So yeah, but it's gonna be about $300. Oh, yeah, I don't have much more of a. It's a diesel. I know how to work on it. I bet you it just ran out of gas. Oh, you fucker. I'm really going back and forth on this diesel. This person must have a trailer. Oh, we're going once. Are we gonna go to... Ah. Should we make it look like we dropped it on him? Going twice. Nope. Oh, you fucker. Alright, last bid. $725. Uh-oh. Don't know if... go one last bid. We're probably gonna win it at $825. Because that's my luck. Oh, we've been outbid. We're gonna let this one go, unfortunately. Alright, here we go. 99 Dodge Dakota with 80,000 miles. Does not run. It's a non-runner. So we're gonna go, I think we're gonna bid, I wanna be $1,500 out the door so I can afford a motor if I need to. Because it's worth about $5 grand. Selling all the way. That's when we bid high bidder at $775. Let's see what happens. Uh-oh. No, this is good. We want it. We want it. Give it to us. Yeah. $775. Let's get it. Hopefully it doesn't need an engine, but if it does, I can definitely afford it. All right. Well, I guess that starts today's video off. Let's get going. I'm gonna load up the trailer and get on out of here. All right, guys. So I bought the truck. I owe a total of $990 with fees included. Heading down to the auction now. I'll update you after I pick up the truck. Got good old reliable. All right, well, we got the truck. It was a pain in the ass to load on the trailer with my little hand crank winch. I come along, but here it is. It is an 80,000 mile Dakota. Haven't looked at anything yet. Just kind of worried about getting on this trailer, but she's on and we're about to head home. Not terrible condition. It's actually pretty nice. Pretty much what I expected. The interior's a little bit nicer than I expected. So we'll get into it when we get home and we'll see what's really going on with the truck. All right, so we got the truck home. Got it loaded off the trailer last night and the battery was dead, so I charged the battery overnight with my charger. It's good now. It seems to be holding at 12.8. So I guess we'll give it a crank and see what happens. Here's a fuel pump coming on. Oh, looks like it wants to start. Oh. Alright, it's not starting. So, smell fuel. Oh yeah, I smell fuel pretty good. So if I smell fuel, it's probably not the fuel. So I guess the next step would be to run a compression test. I don't really feel like taking all the spark plug wires out to check that. I think it might be a spark issue because it seems to have good compression. So last night on my way home, I picked up one of these rotor and cap for a tune-up, which is back there on the distributor. So I'm going to try replacing that. It's a good maintenance thing to do anyways, so I was probably going to do it no matter what. So I'm going to do that. And if that doesn't work, then I guess I'll do a compression test next. So we'll see if that fixes it. So yeah. Alright, so here's the outcome. Got a little bit ahead of ourselves here, but didn't really want to take another video until I found out what was actually going wrong. Turns out it looks like it blew a head gasket. and it got overheated. It looks like it failed in multiple places. This looks terrible. The head gasket looks like it's deteriorating everywhere. Definitely blown between those two cylinders. I ran a compression test, and I got, I think, 150 in one cylinder, and the rest were just all below 90. So that's what made me want to turn the heads off. The cylinders don't look bad. They actually look pretty good. So I think we're going to get away with just some head gaskets and probably a new set of heads, because I don't know if you can see it, but I found... see if you can see that. Oh, it's gonna focus. There's a crack right there. Yeah, you can see that. And I also found multiple other cracks in this one, and that one's cracked as well. So that's the outcome of buying cars from auction. It's part of the game. You don't always win. I mean, still probably gonna make $3 grand on the truck, but a little bit more work than I had to. But I don't mind it. It's gonna be a great truck. It's gonna be an 80,000 mile Dakota, nice and clean. Well, it will be nice and clean, but yeah. So that's gonna be the end of the video. I might do another one when it's running, but that's the conclusion.